Right, quite enough silliness already, is it not? Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, staff, super intelligent shades of the colour. Orange, isn't it, Ted? Orange. You orange?
No, are you retarded?
Yes, indeed. Go down there and twiddle the knobs like a good lad. Right. Seeing as there's no real action on the viewer numbers here, partly because it's impromptu these days with the live streaming. Okay, let's do a live stream. And the 15 minutes warning that I gave the YouTuber, and partly due to the lack of adequate numbers of notifications going out. It's a slow start in terms of viewers, but it's just ticked over to over 20, so ooh, exciting times, isn't it, Ted? Ted? Yeah, stop twiddling the knobs. And we're here to administer some... Yes, we are. Right, so as you can probably tell from the title of this particular live stream, we're going to be dealing with one Simon Hill and one Thomas Dayspring. Yes, neither of whom I'm a fan of. So that's the first disclosure. I am not a fan of Simon Hill, and neither am I a fan of Thomas Dayspring. Yeah, basically this is yet another cholesterol though video, I suspect, and so we'll deal with it in a minute when we get going, once we've finished with all the chit chat and stuff, the warm-up procedures that we need to go through, such as the caveats that well, number one, I am not a fan of either of these individuals in terms of anything they've had to say previously. Simon Hill is a card-carrying plant muncher. He's fast becoming one of the high priests of the Church of Anorexia Vegana. He's a boy with, in my opinion, a very serious arrogance problem. And a lot of you watching this will think, well, that's rich coming from me, and that's fine. That's entirely up to you. Nonetheless, I feel like I do have the runs on the board. Whereas if Simon continues his dietary approach, he'll probably just have the runs at some point, or indeed constipation, because that's apparently what happens when you eat too much fibre. And Thomas Dayspring is perhaps the world's leading proponent in academia for the ridiculous, nonsensical and patently false lipid hypothesis as that relates to the underpinning etiology of cardiovascular disease. So, yes, we'll deal with that in a minute. But before we get into that, the other caveat is I will be pausing this video often. Very often, I suspect. I haven't seen it yet, but I suspect I will, because both of these two are imbeciles in my mind. Even in the middle of a sentence, if I think something needs correcting right on the spot, right off the top of my head, bam, I will pause it and correct it. Okay? If that's triggering for you, if that's a problem for you, you are in the wrong place, and you should probably just pop off somewhere else and come back another day when I'm doing something else. That's the next bit of news for you, is that doing something else will, from this point forward, for the foreseeable future, other things will not be including pre-recorded, edited, highly polished videos. I do not have time or inclination. I am stretched to the very limit in 6 or 7 different directions, what with all the things that are going on in my life right now. The other thing that will not be occurring for the foreseeable future is the Saturday evening or Sunday morning, depending where you are in the world, question and answer FAQ sessions. Reasoning. Number one, my co-host doesn't want to do it. Number two, not in any order of importance, by the way, just these are the reasons. Number two, the viewer numbers for the FAQ sessions are poor, as relates to all the other sorts of videos that I have been doing in the last 6 months. 3, they're not financially viable, therefore, and the amount of shall we say, love from you folks, while it's great and we appreciate all the love we get, it has not been in the live sessions such that it warrants the continuation of those live FAQ sessions. So for the foreseeable future, cancelled. No more questions. Inge mig frågor. Stick och brän. Tyst nu. Håll käften. All of that. No more Q&A sessions for the meantime. So it will be live reactions such as this one, where we are going to be dealing with Thomas Dayspring, mostly, I think, in this, and input from Simon Hill, which I'm sure will be absolutely worthwhile. What do you think, Ted? No. Anyway, you go and good lad down there. Good boy. Good boy. Right, let's see who's in the house, or at least who's commenting in the house that I can see anyway. We'll put the comments up on the stage there so that we can see them as they come up. Right, so Hobby Halloween, very good. Here for the program. Excellent. The program is about to begin. Hey, hope the farm rebuild is going well. Good to see you, Mark, by the way. Absolute legend is Mark. Good man. Yes, the rebuild is going. So we won't say it's going well. It is going. We are successfully rebuilding one thing at a time. We are hemorrhaging funds, by the way. We have landed ourselves, well, we haven't done it to ourselves, but we have landed with a 6-figure repair bill on the farm after 2 significant flooding events about 3 months ago. And the insurance folks have managed to screw it down to very low end of 5 figures in terms of what they're going to pay. So basically, no lube, both fists is what we've got there. So please do send us all your spare shekels, any spare cash that you can possibly bear to part with, at least in the short term. It will keep Ted from going mad and going postal on us all. That could happen. Who knows? Other news is that we've started the lambing procedure, which is going really badly. To be fair, it's actually quite upsetting. Yes, we have a, what is it? 80% mortality rate so far. It's been really hard on Pim, Queen of Pirates, as well as myself. Not to mention 2 young nieces and my sister who are here helping out. We're doing absolutely everything we can to ameliorate, and yet there is something that is not right. Anyway, so we'll move on. We shall move on. Yes, thank you. We are okay. I'm okay. I'm battling a bit. I'm struggling a bit with the realities, I guess, of farm life. We've been smashed by floods. We're having trouble with the lambing. Money's hemorrhaging. The Q&A sessions haven't been successful. YouTube continues to shadow ban the absolute living fuck out of me. But we will continue to fight on. Where there's life, there's hope. And we will continue to tell the truth. Yes, that's what we will. Yes. All right, so let's get on. Let's start dealing with this treaty here from Simon Hill and his little mate, Thomas Dayspring, or whatever his name is, Dayspring or Sprung. I think it's Dayspring. Right. Okay. Simon, tell us all about it.
Whenever we talk about lowering cholesterol on this show, inevitably there's comments.
Well, I wonder why.
But Simon, our cells need cholesterol to make vitamin D and for cell membrane fluidity, for hormone production, etc.
Right, yes. So cholesterol plays myriad roles in the body and participates in a metabolic tree from which the outcomes are vast, important, in fact, vital for life. The whole idea that cholesterol is at all responsible for any disease process in the human body is fundamentally ridiculous beyond all recognition. It's a hypothesis that's had its day. It was only ever a hypothesis, and it has been quite sufficiently, quite adequately debunked completely in the interim since its first inception. We are done with the lipid hypothesis, those of us that understand anything at all about physiology. Okay? Cholesterol does not cause heart disease, apparently. There it is. Good morning, Dean. Good to see you, mate. I'm glad that the usual suspects are in the house. It would be really nice to see some new people in the house. Perhaps all of you could go and grab somebody by the hand and bring them in. Harry Louse, King of Tasmania. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you here. We're dealing with Simon Hill. I know you're excited for that, Harry. That'll be good. Not just Simon Hill, but he's also got Thomas Dayspring on board for this one. So, cholesterols, though. Hello. Hello, South Australia. We love you, South Australia. Yes, we do. One of the most beautiful parts of Australia, I think, is South Australia. Not the most beautiful necessarily, but it's up there, isn't it? Good morning from all of you, and good morning from all of us. It's good night from me, and it's good night from him. Good night. That's him. This way. Face the front, Ted. Goodness. Can't do anything right, can we? Okay, right. Come on then, Simon. Tell us all about cholesterol.
I certainly understand why people are concerned here.
Yes, that's the way to get on side with people, is to say, I certainly understand why you'd be saying something that Simon doesn't believe to be true. Because here's the thing. Simon, I think, would be struggling to be much into his 30s, if he even is. This is a boy that takes a statin medication, which raises several questions for me. Number one, how could you possibly be so stupid, Simon Hill, as to take a statin, a universally contraindicated metabolic toxin with no indications in human beings whatsoever, except as an income generation means for Big Pharma? Number two, why would a man of your age need a statin? Number three, if your veganerized diet is the ideal diet for human beings, as you keep telling your audience it is, son, why is your cholesterol aberrant, as you believe high cholesterol to be? I think they're all fair questions, and I'd like to ask you to your face, Simon, but it seems that you lack the testicular fortitude to front for such a discussion. Who'd like to see Simon Hill come and have a chat with good old Baldy about the cholesterols, though? Or human nutrition, though? Or science, though? Who'd like to see that? Make your comments below. Not over there, down there. Make your comments down there as to whether or not you'd like to see Simon Hill front me for a discussion. Or even Thomas Bedsprings, or whatever his name is. Yeah? Okay. Yep. Statins at 30. Is he 30? I don't know. I'm guessing. Who knows how old people are? You can't really tell from looking at them, can you? What you can tell is quite a bit about a person by looking at them and by watching how their body seems to be functioning. We'll get to that in a minute when Thomas comes on. Won't we? Yes. Linda would like to see that. Well, there's 1. N equals 1. It must be true then. That's how science works, isn't it? N equals 1. Never mind the facts. Okay, good. Simon. Oh, let's go back to where we were. Bloody hell, I'm not very good at this today.
Understand why people are concerned here.
Yes, you understand.
But this concern is easily cleared up with a
good. I'm glad Simon's going to easily clear up this misunderstanding that the cholesterol hypothesis is dead in the water. Go on then, Simon. Clear it up for us with all that sciencing.
little bit of basic physiology.
Good. Basic physiology. My favourite thing. Let's hear it.
As outlined by Dr. Thomas Dayspring.
Good. Thomas Dayspring, the world's leading proponent, perhaps, of the lipid hypothesis. A fallacious load of nonsense that this guy's built his entire career upon and must defend this hill until he dies. Which, frankly, boys and girls, might not be very long. I don't want to wish that on anybody. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, have a look at some things here. Watch this man's neural control of his extremities. See if there's anything there that would concern you that might be as a result of artificially spending your whole life lowering your cholesterol or something. I don't know. What do I know? I don't know anything. Let's see, though. Get your viewing glasses out and have a look at how Thomas presents here, his affect.
Cholesterol is obviously an essential molecule for human life. It's in every cell membrane in our bodies, and without cell membranes, no cells.
Good. Well, that's a good start. So why then are you the leading proponent in the world, apparently, of the fallacious, ridiculous lipid hypothesis, Thomas? I suppose he's got more to say.
Therefore, I always phrase it this way: evolution went to great power to make sure every cell in your body could de novo synthesize all the cholesterol it needs for whatever it's in its cytosol and in its cell membrane.
Right, so your body can create all the cholesterol it needs itself from non-cholesterol precursors, i.e. acetyl coenzyme A, i.e. the first intermediary of the TCA cycle, i.e. derivable from fats, carbohydrates, protein, or indeed alcohol. Good.
And it even knows that above a certain threshold, cholesterol molecules are toxic.
Okay, according to whom, on the basis of what, Thomas? Or you're just going to carry on with that begging the question fallacy? We just expected to accept that from you because you're the leading proponent in the world of the theory that this is so in some way. Notice how he's not actually going to justify that statement at all, staff, at all.
They can crystallize. It also gave every cell the ability, a tool, a membrane efflux transporter to get rid of any excess cholesterol.
All right, so the body has a means to get rid of excess cholesterol as well, does it, Thomas? Well, it's not looking good for the lipid hypothesis already. After less than a minute of speech, slurred as it may be, from the world's leading proponent of the lipid hypothesis. Goodness, Thomas, you're not doing yourself any favours here. Or am I missing something?
So cells, if you look at what we call cholesterol homeostasis, is it in balance? Every cell doesn't need help. But there might be one or two exceptions to that. Now, when I'm talking with cells, there are two types of cells in your...
Okay, watch that right hand, the bottom of the screen.
Your body, brain, and everything else below.
See that? What do you think? Interesting, isn't it?
The brain, that's called
Okay, this is an aged gentleman. We get that. I wonder what age... Somebody want to do a quick Google on Thomas Dayspring, Dr. Thomas Dayspring, and see what age this man is. Not that that should actually excuse a benign essential tremor. Let's call it benign, because we don't know it isn't. But there's nothing benign about being, at a stage where your neurons no longer function to hold your hand steady, is there?
peripheral cells. But even the brain and all the peripheral cells make all the cholesterol they need. Ergo, they don't need a delivery of cholesterol.
Righty-o. So it sounds a lot like the old gluconeogenesis means we don't need to take in any carbohydrates whatsoever argument, which we then go on to say, and excess carbohydrates above that, which our body can make for itself, are actually toxic, dose making the poison. Thomas is of the opinion that the same is true of cholesterol. Or indeed, he used to say that, and now he's changed his opinion, which absolutely proves that his credibility is shot whatsoever, isn't it, in the first place? Because if you were wrong before, who's to say you're not wrong now? And as it turns out, Thomas, you're wrong. Because ApoB100 protein doesn't cause heart disease either, mate. Sorry about that. 78. There you go. Thank you, Linda B. There you go. He's 78 years of age, is Thomas Dayspring. All right. And while his speech is cogent, we can understand his thought process, what he's saying. Is there or is there not a significant slurring in his speech? I don't know. I'm not saying there is. Maybe my hearing's off. It could be. What with all that ear chewing I get from Ted. He says I'm too polite to people like this. If you want a less polite, even than I am, I know that's saying something, perhaps you should follow Ted on the X platform. You'll find him there by typing in @HRH_Ted, and Ted will tell you all about next Tuesday. Everybody's from next Tuesday as far as Ted's concerned. He's very, very abrupt. He uses a lot of short words is what I'm saying, but he's very clear in his messaging. He says all sorts of things, and he's also been saying a bit in the last few days about UK politics, because there's a lot to say there, isn't there? Anyway, that's not what we're here to do today. Today we're talking about Thomas's ideas about lipids, though. So, Thomas, David, you know what happens when you're late. Ted, face the right way, son. That's better. You report to Ted down the back after class for a bit of, that's what happens. He'll be down the back there by that small guillotine. Right.
When we measure cholesterol, we're measuring cholesterol that's circulating in the plasma lipoproteins. We're not measuring any tissue cholesterol level or so. So we have to extrapolate from a plasma cholesterol level. Are we injuring or hurting a cell by depleting plasma cholesterol?
Okay, so begging the question fallacy there, isn't it? Thomas has just said that almost every cell in the human body is perfectly capable of generating all the cholesterol it requires itself de novo from acetyl coenzyme A. He didn't say that. I added that so that you understand what the process is and where it starts. How early in the tree? The first intermediary of the TCA cycle. That's where it comes from. And now he's talking about extrapolating harm from lowering cholesterol in the blood, so-called, suggesting that because cells are capable, that lowering the cholesterol in the blood won't do any harm. Oh, okay. So scientists don't extrapolate. Scientists report within the bounds of the data they have collected under sufficient discipline, according to the epistemology of science, the rules of science. They don't speculate. Thomas is speculating here. Yeah.
And if you listen to what I just said...
Oh, super chat action. Love it. Thanks for the super chat. That's the example that you should all live by. Send me all your money, because otherwise Ted will eat me out of house and home, which is not good. Cholesterol does indeed rule. Thank you for the $10. Appreciate that. I'm tired of looking for fame as well, by the way. YouTube doesn't want me to have it.
Cells don't need a delivery of cholesterol, then no, we're not. Basically...
Okay, so because cells don't need a delivery of something, not delivering it there cannot do any harm, is what Thomas has just said. That's interesting.
Most of the cholesterol in plasma is within your LDL particles, and we now know their primary purpose is to bring cholesterol back to the liver and likely the small intestine.
According to whom? On the basis of what? Because the understanding hitherto, Thomas, has been, and until I see evidence otherwise, I'm not saying there isn't any, I'm just saying I haven't seen it, but the main role of LDL is in fact to deliver cholesterol outward rather than to bring it back so much. You're suggesting that no, in fact, the exact opposite is true. It's interesting, and if you're right, that would be an interesting discussion. Let's see the data that would establish that in situ in human beings. Shall we? Shall we wait for that? We'll be waiting about as long, I would suspect, as I'll be waiting to get a response from Thomas Dayspring to come and have a word with me about the lipid hypothesis live on camera, I would suggest. Anyways, go on.
Clearance of the ApoB particles, and then those organs, the intestine or the liver, can do other things with the cholesterol. HDLs carry the next largest amount of cholesterol in your body. And where are they going? For the most part, they're going back to the liver or the small intestine. But HDLs have the ability to deliver.
Report to Ted after class for being late. Soapy frogs. You know how it goes. Sorry, Thomas. On you go.
Liver cholesterol to a couple of cells that might need extra cholesterol, and that would be your steroidogenic tissue. Again, for the most part, they synthesize all the cholesterol they need. They don't need a delivery. But if they do, they can upregulate something called the scavenger receptor, which delipidates cholesterol from the HDL, and they get an extra supply, maybe in an urgent situation, especially adrenal cortex, where they got to start shooting that cortex. And the other tissue that can upregulate those scavenger receptors and take cholesterol from an HDL is the storage organ in the body for cholesterol, our adipocytes. Now, LDLs don't deliver cholesterol to adipocytes. Unless an extreme emergency, LDLs do not deliver cholesterol to steroidogenic tissue.
Okie dokie. So what Thomas is now saying is that the storage site for cholesterol in our body is the adipocytes, but LDL doesn't deliver cholesterol there. That's some good logicking.
Those cells could upregulate LDL receptors, but they rarely do. So the cholesterol in your plasma can...
Is anybody else having audio issues other than Gabriel? Because as far as my dials and numbers and bars and things are showing, all the volumes are correct. So if anyone else is having volume issues, let me know. Otherwise, Thomas, you'll have to sort it from... Gabriel, you'll have to sort it from your end. Unplug says it's all good. All right, so it's probably a problem at your end. Sorry about that.
Not be used as an indicator that I'm hurting a cell. The last thing I'll say is because everybody...
The last thing I'll say, I wish it was Thomas. I suspect it won't be.
Get tweets every day. You're shrinking your brain when you drop LDL cholesterol too much. Your brain starting in like the second and third trimester in utero, and certainly from the day you're born, synthesizes de novo all of the cholesterol it needs. It doesn't get a single molecule of cholesterol from anything carrying cholesterol in your plasma. So we've proven this in clinical trials. If I make your LDL cholesterol without cell membranes, no cells.
Pause. If you want to say you've proven something in a clinical trial, you cite that trial, Thomas, so that we can have a look at it and see what's wrong with it, because I guarantee you anything you like, there is something wrong with it. So the video sounds louder than me. Okay, well, that's nothing that I'm doing, because that'll be something StreamYards is doing. The output here is exactly what it ought to be. Exactly. So the only other thing I can do is perhaps turn Thomas down a little and see if that has any impact on the YouTube's feed. Let's see. Let me know if this is better.
Therefore, I always phrase it this way. Evolution went to great power to make sure every cell in your body could de novo synthesize all the cholesterol it needs for whatever it's in its cytosol and in its cell membrane. And it even knows that above a certain threshold,
Okay, so where were we up to? About here?
In your body, brain and everything else below the brain, that's called peripheral cells. But even the brain and all the... But there might be one or two exceptions to that.
Here.
Now, when I'm talking with cells, there are two types of cells in your body, brain and everything else below the brain. That's called peripheral cells. But even the brain and all the peripheral cells make all the cholesterol they need. Ergo, they don't need a delivery of cholesterol. When we measure cholesterol, we're measuring cholesterol that's circulating in the plasma lipoproteins. We're not measuring any tissue cholesterol.
Okay, I realize we've heard all this, but for some reason, I'm inept today. Deal with it.
Level or so. So we have to extrapolate from a plasma cholesterol level. Are we injuring or hurting a cell by depleting plasma cholesterol? And if you listen to what I just said, cells don't need a delivery of cholesterol, then no, we're not.
Okay, well, also then, if you're right about that, Thomas, what would be the possible benefit of pharmacologically lowering your blood cholesterol level at all? Given that you yourself said not 2 minutes ago in your own little spiel here that the body has exporters for excess cholesterol to rid the body of it, should that be necessary. No, sorry, Joff, there are no late slips. You report to Ted after class. That's what happens.
Basically, most of the cholesterol in plasma is within your LDL particles, and we now know their primary purpose is to bring cholesterol back to the liver and likely the small intestine. clearance of the ApoB particles, and then those organs, the intestine or the liver, can do other things with the cholesterol.
Right, so as I was saying before, when Thomas said that before, he's now suggesting that the primary role of LDL is to return cholesterol from the tissues to the liver, mostly. That's at odds with current understanding. Now, if Thomas has some data underpinning that he would like to share, that would be awesome. What he's not doing, however, in this little spiel is sharing that. He's just saying, we now know this. Well, how do you know, Thomas? Okay, that'll be very interesting to see.
HDLs carry the next largest amount of cholesterol in your body. And where are they going? For the most part, they're going back to the liver or the small intestine. But HDLs have the ability to deliver cholesterol to a couple of cells that might need extra cholesterol, and that would be your steroidogenic tissue. Again, for the most part, they synthesize all the cholesterol they need. They don't need a delivery. But if they do, they can upregulate something called the scavenger receptor, which delipidates cholesterol from the HDL, and they get an extra supply, maybe in an urgent situation, especially adrenal cortex, where they got to start shooting that cortex. And the other tissue that can upregulate those scavenger receptors and take cholesterol from an HDL is the storage organ in the body for cholesterol, our adipocytes.
Right, so now he's suggesting that the storage for cholesterol in the body is the adipocyte. That's interesting.
Now, LDLs don't deliver cholesterol to adipocytes.
I'm confused. I wish I wasn't so stupid and so easily confused. Help me understand, Thomas.
Unless in extreme emergency, LDLs do not deliver cholesterol to steroidogenic tissue. They could. Those cells could upregulate LDL receptors, but they rarely do. So the cholesterol in your plasma cannot be used as an indicator that I'm hurting a cell. The last thing I'll say is, because I get tweets every day, you're shrinking your brain when you drop LDL cholesterol.
Or indeed, perhaps you're damaging your peripheral nervous conduction, at least, Thomas. That might be happening. Who knows?
Too much.
And then your brain will follow at some point, once your individual tolerance for artificially lowering your cholesterol, and indeed the other very problematic aspects of statin medications in terms of their other side effects kick in. That could well be a problem for you too.
Your brain starting in like the second and third trimester in utero, and certainly from the day you're born, synthesizes de novo all of the cholesterol it needs. It doesn't get a single molecule of cholesterol from anything carrying cholesterol in your plasma.
The other thing that is a clear early sign of the onset of dementia, I'm not saying this is what's going on here, I'm just saying, isn't this interesting? Notwithstanding the repetition of the parts of this video that I've played twice in this, even if you just played it once, Thomas is actually talking in circles, is he not? He's repeating himself over and over and over again, desperately, it seems, waiting for his brain to actually catch up with his gob so that he can start on the next thing. It's interesting, if nothing else, I would have thought.
So we've proven this in clinical trials. If I make...
Again, there we go, proving it in clinical trials. Great. Well, what clinical trials, Thomas? And who's we? Let's have a look at these clinical trials that prove whatever it is you're about to say.
Your LDL cholesterol 15 because you're a nightmare and I want to make your ApoB or LDL cholesterol that low. I cannot hurt any cell in the body by depriving them of cholesterol.
Yeah, but you might harm them by the means by which you attempt to lower the cholesterol, i.e. the other side effects of the statin medications and PKS9 inhibitors, because they both have side effects, don't they? Hugely problematic, hugely damaging, sometimes fatal side effects, all to lower cholesterol in the blood, which is completely contraindicated still.
You might be thinking, well, then why the heck is cholesterol produced by the liver and shuttled into the blood within lipoproteins then?
Right. Interesting.
What's the purpose of that? To answer this, let's go back to Tom.
Oh, yes, let's go back to Thomas, because he makes all the sense in the world.
A man dealing with daily foot pain and neuropathy symptoms started using the EMSense wearable therapy device.
Few even modern lipidologists know this, because you have to go back and start reading the 1950 data with Don Fredrickson and the earlier ones. And And their great treatise published in 1967 in the New England Journal, a 5-part series on lipoprotein and lipid transport in the plasma, they really showed that, answer your question there, it's essential to ship out triglycerides in the VLDL particles in the chylomicrons because that's energy for various tissues that store it or utilize.
Oh, there you go. Energy for your cells can be found in the form of triglycerides, staff. Who'd have thunk it? Thus meaning that the requirement for carbohydrates for energy is, what again? Oh, yes. Good.
But since no cell needs cholesterol delivery, why
Or indeed sugar.
did the liver put cholesterol, or even the intestine? The intestine's sending absorbed cholesterol, but the liver making VLDL particles. And it's basically to give...
Well, it's because the cholesterol is an integral part of the structure of the lipid package. And also, the current understanding is it's very important for the delivery of cholesterol out to tissues that actually do absorb it, because endocytosis is a thing. It does happen, meaning that there is some uptake by the tissues of the cholesterol delivered there by the LDL. I'd be fascinated to see why Thomas thinks that's not so.
Structure and make the particles spherical so they're larger. It's serving a structural purpose, the cholesterol in the LDL particles,
Right.
and even in the VLDL particles.
Right.
And they send the LDLs out. Why would they even send the LDLs out if they're not delivering cholesterol? Because Dan sort of mentioned that little tricky transfer protein, CETP. HDLs are the particles that accept unneeded cholesterol from whatever tissue is trying to get rid of cholesterol to avoid its cellular toxicity.
Again, what cellular toxicity would that be, Thomas?
But once the HDLs fill up with cholesterol, again, this is the genius of evolution. They said, hey, HDLs, just transfer your cholesterol over to the LDLs. They'll bring it back to the liver, and you will become small again. You can go back out and get more cholesterol from any cell looking to efflux it. So people don't realize.
So now he's suggesting it's a chain gang. Okay, whatever.
When they look at an LDL cholesterol level, a substantial part of the cholesterol within the core of LDL particles was just transferred to them by HDL particles.
Which makes real nonsense of the bad cholesterol, good cholesterol argument, doesn't it? Thanks, Thomas.
But the LDLs were sent out with X amount of cholesterol because they're
Again, look at that left hand.
spherical particles of a certain size, and it gives them structural
And the stability of the head on the neck and all of that. Interesting. I'm not casting aspersions. I'm just saying, isn't that interesting?
integrity, and that's why the cholesterol is in those ApoB particles. ApoB particles do not per se deliver cholesterol to tissues.
That's false, Thomas. Endocytosis is a thing. LDL particles absolutely have demonstrably been seen to deliver cholesterol to the endothelial beds. Saying that they don't do that is a falsehood. Sorry.
In an emergency,
Not sorry.
they could. Any cell can upregulate an LDL receptor, but I don't think that happens much, if at all.
You don't think it happens. That's very different from establishing the fact that it does or doesn't, and to what level, isn't it, Thomas? Carry on with the theology, though.
So there's complex physiology going on.
It's complex physiology, so we couldn't possibly, we great unwashed, we couldn't possibly understand it. Just take my word for it. I'm Thomas Dayspring. I'm the world's leading proponent of the lipid hypothesis. Trust me, I'm safe and effective. Don't question the science. Good.
Here, and
I'm glad that I've been reassured on this, and I had it wrong my whole life.
that's why cholesterol serves a structural purpose.
Right, among myriad other purposes that cholesterol has in the body, ergo, it shouldn't be artificially reduced still.
On both the surface and in the core of LDL and other ApoB particles.
So with all of that insight from Dr. Dayspring and Dr. Dan Sofa, I now have a decision to make.
Yes, you do. Shut your channel down, stop with the disinformation, stop promoting the veganerized diet promoted by the high priests of the Church of Anorexia Vegana. Pull your head in, learn your place in the hierarchy of whatever, and stop being quite so arrogant. Or don't do any of those things. I suspect he's going to choose the latter. What do you think? Again, put your votes down here. Do you think actually Simon is going to pull his head in at this point? Or do you think he's just going to double down on his ridiculous, pustulous, excremental, erroneous, fallacious gobshite? What do we think?
Do I stay the course or start medication to lower my ApoB and LDL cholesterol?
Well, apparently he's already started on the statins. It's a rumour. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I've heard.
To a level that completely stops plaque progression?
How do you lower your LDL and ApoB to a level that stops plaque progression when those things patently are not the etiology cause of that atherosclerotic lesioning in the first place? That's begging the question fallacy again. It will not work, Simon. You cannot prevent something from occurring by interfering with a completely different process that has nothing to do with the thing that's occurring. That's the absolute personification of insanity, arrogance, stupidity, Dunning-Kruger, etc.
Or potentially induces regression. All of this has...
Oh, that's different, isn't it? Potentially reduces regression. How does that happen? What's the mechanism, Simon? Perhaps you'd like to come and discuss it with me, because I would venture to suggest that you don't actually understand the etiology of atherosclerotic lesion development at all, in fact. And I reckon I could point to that pretty squarely within several minutes of discussion with you live on camera. There's a challenge for you.
Certainly given me pause, a moment to reflect, a moment to gather information and make the best.
Perhaps you should have gathered your information before you started opening your mouth publicly about what you believe to be optimal for human beings, Simon. That would have been better, wouldn't it? No.
Decision health going forward. And I wanted this process, this thinking loud, the decision making to be public, because
sometimes, Simon, the quiet bit should be quiet. Okay, we don't need to hear everything.
Is ultimately,
and certainly we don't need to hear anything from anyone that's promoting the vegan diet publicly, because straight away, as soon as you do that, you're an imbecile. There's no two ways about it. You are the flat earthers of the nutrition world. You are absolutely in denial of observable, predictable, objective reality. You're destitute of connection with reality. You are divorced entirely from reality. What makes you think that you have any business making public protestations to folks about how they should manage their health or nutritional approach? Exactly what, Simon? What is your background in science? I know you've got a master's degree. Well, okay. It's a good degree. Well, depending where you got it from. Speaking of depending where you got it from and how, has everybody seen the Mike Israel roast that's come out lately? Wow! I knew that Mike Israel was a sloppy, anti-scientific gobshite. You could tell that by what he says and how he says it. But somebody made a video recently, over an hour long, where they got hold of his PhD thesis and looked at the thing in detail. Wow! You need to see that. There's a short highlights version of it on my chat section on my YouTube channel if you want to go and find it. Or you can go to the original video that's over an hour long and watch the whole thing. Wow! Wow, wow, wow. Anyway, that's for another day.
I believe that transparency, especially around how we navigate important health choices, can help others on their own health journey. Here's where I'm currently at as I record this.
Okay, let's hear it, Simon.
At a high level, this is a powerful reminder. You can be doing all of the right things on paper.
Well, hang on a minute, son. Are you about to tell us your cholesterol is too high? And if you believe that high cholesterol is a problem and your diet has led to high cholesterol, or at least is one of the associations to it, wouldn't that give you pause to think whether or not your diet's the right thing? Or perhaps you should go back to the very basics and find out whether high cholesterol is indeed problematic, because you'll find it's not.
Your blood tests can look excellent, and you can still be developing atherosclerosis. Heart disease is called a
I have been to Sweden, Bjorn. I have been to Sweden twice. Then Flickfan are from Stockholm. So, there we go. What's the new thing in Sweden anyway? The new thing is a new study. You must only eat 15 grams of meat. It's all over Swedish public TV. Well, there you go. Not everything that comes out of Sweden is good. Some of the things are, aren't they, Pim, Queen of Pirates, etc.? Yes, that is horrifying. You're right. The very thing that we've evolved on, we should now limit the intake to less than 15 grams a day, should we? Nope, I won't be doing that personally.
And killer for a reason. It creeps up slowly, often over decades, without symptoms, and sometimes the first sign is a heart attack or stroke.
That's right. So heart disease sometimes is not noted before it results in a heart attack, myocardial infarction, and sadly often a person's first heart attack is fatal. Sure, but so what?
Now, biology, which is shaped by evolution.
Yeah, well, good, Simon. That's a good start, yes. So, ergo, should you not look at the actual science underpinning informing us as to what that is and what that process has been? Because if you did, you wouldn't be promoting a vegan diet, would you, son?
Doesn't care if we thrive into our 90s with sharp minds, healthy hearts, and strong bodies. It cares about survival and reproduction. But that's...
So now Simon is saying that the only thing evolution is interested in is survival to a reproductive age, i.e. disposable soma theory, which fundamentally shows an absolute destitution of understanding of the process by which human beings have developed and the reason for our genetic lifespans being more like 120 to 150 years, actually, if we got out of our own stupid way. Why is it that a human being is genetically programmed to live well over 100 years? If the only interest of evolution is to get you to 14, 15, 16 years of age so that you can reproduce, after which you have no value. It's ridiculous, Simon Hill, as are you. Come and discuss it with me face to face.
It's not enough for me. Like you, I imagine, I want to thrive into my 90s, mentally sharp and physically independent.
Okay, well, Simon, you're young enough to amend your erroneous ways hitherto so that you can turn this around and possibly get somewhere near your genetic potential for your lifespan. I wish I had changed my erroneous ways earlier in my life than you have the opportunity to do at your age, son. I would suggest very strongly that you do so for your own good and that of your family and those that love and care for you for some reason.
Dr. Dayspring often says that most of us will die with cardiovascular disease, but today we don't have to die because of it.
That's right. So one of the best ways of preventing death from cardiovascular disease is to prevent the cardiovascular disease. And the best way to do that is to understand its etiology in the first place, Simon, which it's clear neither you nor Thomas Dayspring does. Sadly, despite the fact that he is a hugely published and well-respected academic for some reason, that doesn't actually make him right. He thinks ApoB100 is the underpinning etiology cause, the ameliorable factor in heart disease, so-called risk. He's wrong. It's not. Just as he was wrong when he used to say it was cholesterol itself. Before that, it's been absolutely smashed beyond recognition to the point where he simply can't continue to say that and be taken seriously. Who's to say he's not wrong about ApoB? He is. And that will come out in time as well. No amount of moving the goalposts around to different aspects of the lipids or lipoproteins will make them causal in the process of atherosclerosis heart disease because, Simon, these things are not causal. Again, one of us is a cardiovascular pathophysiologist, Simon. One of us. And if you look back through your history, you'll find out that it's not you. So therefore it must be me. Okay? Come and have a discussion with me face to face, Simon, about the etiology, histology, and developmental process of atherosclerotic lesioning. And then tell me that lipids have anything to do with it. It'll get fantastic viewer numbers, Simon, I promise you, because I'm well known for not putting up with imbeciles. All right? Anyway, what's next?
It's what we are talking about here. I don't think anyone really cares about plaque, the millimeters cubed of plaque that we have. We care about whether or not we have a heart attack or a stroke. That's
Right, so hard outcomes are pretty important, yes.
what we're trying to get on the front foot to prevent. And prevention is something that I've taken very seriously.
Erroneously, though, Simon, you've taken completely fallacious information from those who have an axe to grind, a hill to defend, a career to justify, and funding continuance to try and perpetuate. What you haven't done is actually studied the etiology of this disease process remotely adequately, patently.
For the past decade of my life. I'm proud of the changes that I made in my late 20s, especially shifting my diet. That certainly wasn't easy in the environment that we live in.
Neither was it the right thing to do, Simon, because you chose a vegan diet, or a nearly vegan diet. That is a mistake. You'll find out soon enough. But you have an opportunity to amend your ways before your health catastrophically fails. And Simon, it will, on a vegan diet. There's no two ways about that. At some point, and probably sooner rather than later in the grand scheme of things, you will, more likely than not, suffer a catastrophic health failure as a result of your destitute diet. These are the facts. Whether you like them or not, this is what seems to be the case. Now, you may be an outlier. You may get away with it for years. Some people do. And, you know, if that's you, well, all power to you. Nonetheless, the statements I make have to be generalised to a generalised audience. And what I'm telling you is that 84% of vegans quit. They do that within 5 years. And 90% of those people cite catastrophic health failure as the reason for doing so. That's not good, is it? There's something wrong with the diet in that case. And we know what's wrong with it. It's lacking 13 essential nutrients that you can only get from animal sources.
But it worked. It dramatically lowered my cholesterol.
Well, hang on. Who made that a goal and why? Because that's contraindicated. If you look at the largest data set available on this topic, it's not even peer-reviewed. Doesn't mean it's not valid. Because actually, Simon, it's collected by organisations that you would probably see as quite credible for some reason. That being the British Heart Foundation for one set of data, and the other axis on a chart that we can chart that on was collected by the World Health Organization. Very credible. Anyway, they have collectively, those two organisations put together a data set from 168 countries and territories around the world with thousands of millions of person years of follow-up. It's a pretty huge sample set, isn't it? And what they found, Simon, is that precipitously when you drop the cholesterol, the total cholesterol, below 220 milligrams per deciliter in the plasma, there is a precipitous increase back towards zero on the x-axis for all causes of mortality, separately passed out, and all-cause mortality. Precipitous. Now, that's just associative, I understand that. Nonetheless, that would seem to be something that you probably should familiarise yourself with. But of course, we know you won't, because the theology is strong in the Vegoons, isn't it? From the Church of Anorexia Vegana. The kids are keeping you busy, Juliet. Well, that's what you did wrong, you see. Having kids. What did you do that for? I'm kidding. They're a joy. They're an absolute joy. Well, other people's kids are a joy to me because they're not mine. And they can go. Like, I've got two nieces here right now. My sister and two nieces are with us. And it's fantastic. It's awesome because at some point, off they pop. Hey? You're very welcome to stay as long as you like, mine, to my family. Love you. All right. Go on, Simon.
And very likely slowed the development of plaque in my arteries.
No, wrong, Simon. You've just conflated. You've just there by an omission of a statement to the contrary. You've just begging the question fallacy there. You have just stated that cholesterol is causal in the development of atherosclerosis. It's not, son. No, it isn't. Come and debate that with me. We can deal with this. I will educate you because it's clear that you need educating on this topic. Absolutely not. There is no way in the world lowering your cholesterol has had a positive effect on your heart health. No way at all.
That said, it's clear that I'm genetically predisposed to cardiovascular disease.
It's also clear that you're genetically predisposed to moderate at best IQ, Simon. Because you'd have to suck that ridiculous vegan lollipop. That's a special kind of stupid, son. Sorry about that, just the facts.
And my change in diet didn't get my LDL cholesterol or my ApoB to a level where we see no plaque progression.
Do you know why that is? It's because it's unnaturally low. It's impossible to get it there because physiologically your body will resist that because it is, Simon, contra-indicated. Is this hard to understand, folks? Comment below for the algorithms and stuff. Let me know whether this is hard to understand or whether it's quite clear that what we are dealing with here is a theological buffoon with no idea what he's actually talking about science-wise. Let me know.
Threshold appears to be around 50 milligrams per deciliter.
Nonsense. There is no data that can underpin that assertion. There is associative data at best, and most of it suffers from lack of power statistically, lack of observation and control, lack of scientific rigor, basically. It's just nonsense, Simon. Absolute nonsense.
And if I want to get there, which I do, the most effective next step is combining my current lifestyle with lipid-lowering medication.
There you go. That's contraindicated, Simon. Under no circumstances should any human being alive remotely for 1 second consider taking those kind of drugs, that class of drugs. And we're talking HMG coenzyme A reductase inhibitors, statins, and PSK9 inhibitors. Under no circumstances should any human being touch either of those drugs with a barge pole. Those are the facts. They are pharmacologically contraindicated. And again, Simon, if you want to know why I'm saying that, perhaps you should front up and I shall tell you all about the pharmacology of those drugs and what they do to the human body. And you will learn something because you desperately need to. Well, I say you will learn something, but I doubt you have the capacity to learn. It seems that your only capacity is in absorbing fallacious, nonsensical theological standpoints and mindlessly regurgitating them back to an unsuspecting public who think that you have some credibility because you have a master's degree. No degree confers veracity on the speaker. Only the words that speaker speaks are the things that can confer veracity. And veracity is underpinned when you want to talk about things related to science. It's underpinned by having a grasp of science, which Simon doesn't have. So he's got no business talking about this publicly. Actually, he's out of his lane completely. Anyway, new member. Welcome, David. You became a YouTube member. Appreciate that. Everybody should be a member of my channel. And every month or so you should check that you're still a member of my YouTube channel because YouTube decides unilaterally, quite often, to unsub you from being a member. Even though you've said, I want to be, here is my credit card, please charge me X amount per month to be a member. YouTube doesn't care about that. What they care about is whether or not I get popular, and as such, they handbrake me. And so they unilaterally and it's happened multiple times. People have got back to me and said, YouTube unsubbed me. I didn't do that. So, subbing up is half the battle. Keeping yourself subbed is the rest. Sorry about that. Just the facts.
As Dr. Peter Attia puts it...
Peter Attia. If you ever want to know whether or not Simon is credible, there it is, right there. He's now tapping Peter Attia. First of all, he tapped Dayspring, the most anti-scientific buffoon around cardiovascular health, in my opinion, that exists just about, because he's the leading proponent out there in the literature of the lipid hypothesis. And now he's going to tap Peter Attia, a reductionist claptrappist. Okay, go on.
Is medicine 3.0, using modern medicine alongside lifestyle, not instead of it.
Nobody believed me at first, but now everybody wants one.
Do they?
My wife roasted me for buying these magic.
Oh, yeah. Good.
to optimize for long-term health.
Oh, okay, well, optimizing for long-term health would require some underpinnings to assert that what you're doing is likely to be beneficial in that regard. What experiments can you point to, Simon, that would underpin the lowering of cholesterol being at all likely to lead to a longer lifespan? Shall we wait for that? Let me save you diving into the literature, Simon, because it won't help you. There is no evidence scientifically extant anywhere in the literature that can support that assertion. Sorry about that.
That doesn't give me a pass to then go and eat whatever I want. Quite the opposite. The more I can adhere to a healthy dietary pattern.
Yeah, but Simon, you have no idea in the world whatsoever what that is. You think a vegan diet is a healthy diet pattern. That's just ignorance beyond belief. It's stupidity beyond belief. It's arrogance beyond belief. And it just drips Dunning-Kruger from every pore.
The lower the dose of medication I'll need. And the same dietary pattern.
You don't need any medication with respect to your cholesterol levels, Simon. At all. Ever. Neither does anybody else.
And that helps lower cholesterol.
Yeah, but lowering cholesterol is still not indicated, Simon. It's still contraindicated.
Also supports healthy blood pressure, glucose, inflammation, etc. So
No, it doesn't. The vegan diet doesn't do any of those things.
this isn't an either or, it's an and. And when it comes to the decision that I get to make, it's not if I take lipid lowering medication, it's when.
My God, you absolute ridiculous buffoon. The stupidity of this boy. Simon Hill, in his probably about 30 years or so at a guess on the planet, somehow has a better understanding of the needs of a human body than at least 3,800 million years of evolution. If that's not arrogance and Dunning-Kruger, I don't know what is. This is a boy that needs to shut his channel down and just stop. You need to remain silent henceforth, Simon. Except in appearing on my fine YouTube channel for the not undressing, the dressing down that you're going to get. God, no, please don't undress. No. Okay, you're going to get your ass handed to you as soon as you front up to me, son, because you do not understand cardiovascular pathophysiology at all. You do not understand human metabolism at all. You do not understand the nutritional requirements of a human being patently. You're an arrogant boy with an ego problem, and I'm going to absolutely ring punch you if you show up for a debate with me, son. Okay?
Academic, curious part of me wants to wait 9 months, repeat a CT angiogram, and see what my plaque progression looks like without adding the variable of lipid-lowering medications. That might confirm my hypothesis that most of my plaque...
So the other thing about Simon Hill is that they did a scan on his arteries recently, and it shows that he's got some calcification. Despite 10 years, he's suggesting, of a veganerized diet. Whoops.
was laid down during the first 3 decades of my life.
Oh, right. Are you suggesting you're 40?
Before I made these lifestyle changes. But the evidence-based, risk-aware part of me says that's primarily my ego.
So you do see that you have an ego problem. Perhaps you ought to get it under control, Simon.
Me trying to prove something.
Somebody want to do a search? I'm interested now. Does somebody want to do a search on Simon Hill and see if you can work out how old this boy is?
And in doing so, I could be wasting 9 months where I could be halting progression entirely. Even if the next scan shows no progression, the current evidence suggests that I should already be on therapy.
No, it doesn't, Simon. It suggests no such thing whatsoever. If by therapy what you mean is either statins or PKS9 inhibitors or both. No, you should not do that. Not under any circumstances, ever. Neither should anybody else. And if it means the continuation of your fallacious, theologically based, ridiculous and destitute vegan diet, Simon, then that would be a mistake as well.
To stabilize the plaque that's there. I am absolutely.
So, there's just another example of what I've been talking about there. You're not allowed to thumb up my videos. That's not allowed. You can join my channel as a member, but YouTube will unilaterally unsub you at some point, so you've got to keep an eye on that. The notifications for my live streams and videos are not going out to a large number of people, and my videos are not being suggested to a wider audience who might enjoy my style. Not everybody enjoys my style, I get that. I'm not suggesting that everybody enjoys my style, and I really don't give a fuck. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to tell you the truth, and I'm here to educate you by subterfuge before you realise I've done it. And the way I'm doing that was with, shock and awe. But nonetheless, YouTube is working against me. Interesting, isn't it? Simon Hill's birth date. There you go, he's 39. Surprising, but there you go. 39. Very good. That's good counting. Impressive. Yep, 39 is indeed almost 40. All right, good. Yeah. All right. Not, as I say, not that it's of any particular interest, because no degree, no certificate confers veracity on any person. Only what they say determines whether they have veracity or whether they don't. Education, bachelor's degree in physiotherapy, okay, and then a master's degree in nutrition science, which is an oxymoron, because no such thing exists in the marketplace, in the scientific fraternity. It's a ring-fenced area of ideology. There is no science in there. How do I know? It's one of three areas of science in which I hold advanced research degrees. Nutrition science. I've also published as a nutrition scientist, Simon. Have you done that? A number of times, actually. And I've also acted as a peer reviewer to a number of journals for others' works. Have you done that, Simon? It's not a pissing contest, I get, but I'm just suggesting that, maybe you ought to take a more circumspect role in talking to the public, because actually your level of veracity, your experience at the coalface is actually not there, is it, son? Okay. Yes, master of nothing. Alexander's has an excellent educational background, Alexander. That's great. It also shows very poor judgment on your part, watching my videos, according to some. Anyway, Simon.
Absolutely excited to share an exclusive offer with the Proof community. This is a
here we go.
limited time offer just for my audience, and no doctor referral.
I'd like to offer people the opportunity to take advantage of the greatest nutraceutical product that I've ever seen. It's the only product with which I am joint ventured in anyway, and it's probably the only one I ever will. And that is the fine range of nutraceutical supplements from a company called Cerule, with whom I'm joint ventured. There's an adult stem cell promoter, promotes the release of your own adult stem cells, which is awesome, an anti-inflammatory called Cyactive, and a blood flow optimizer called Plasma Flow. What you should do is get all three of those products on a monthly basis on a subscribe and save ticket. That way you won't pay for shipping and you'll get a price break on the products. That is if you want to pay for them at all. If you'd like them for free, rather than being a retail customer, which is great, we love retail customers, we do, but if you want them for free, then you join as an IBO member of the organisation rather than as a retail customer. And what you do is you set up 3 of your own retail customers, and then yours is free. Pretty much. Terms and conditions apply, all that, check it all out, etc. Ask me any questions you like by email, I'm happy to answer those. And it's not a limited time offer, but you should get on with it, because the longer you don't promote your body's release of adult stem cells, it seems the longer you will have perhaps suboptimal release of adult stem cells, which is genetically programmed into your body, by the way. You're supposed to wind down as you age. Basically what this product is doing is suggesting to Mother Nature that maybe she should go directly to jail and not pass go, shall we say. Anyway, I'm not allowed to make therapeutic claims or say it's fountain of youth, so what I usually say is this is not a fountain of youth. That way I've said fountain of youth 3 times within a 10-second period of time, all while suggesting that this is not a fountain of youth. Look at that 4. Go get it. It's good. If you haven't already got yourself on board with Cyril, get yourself on board today. It's not limited, though, in time. You can do it next week or the week after. But the longer you leave it... Anyway.
Referral is needed. Function Health is a comprehensive at-home blood testing service.
Right, so what's blood test going to tell you about anything? Okay, apolipoprotein B level. Well, it is what it's supposed to be. It's set by your genes. Who cares what it turns out in your blood? Cholesterol HDL ratio. So what? Again, that's under the control of your genes too. HDL cholesterol, HDL large, LDL, all these lipid tests, basically. And a bunch of other tests that will get at some markers, but will not actually make any prognostic statement about your health prospects going forward at all. Quite different from a product like I've just promoted, which there's a clear and tangible benefit to your body, i.e. this product has been shown, at least in pilot peer-reviewed independent research, to do exactly what it claims it does, that being to cause your bone marrow to release your adult stem cells to your blood, whereupon they do magics. A test of some other body responses like Simon's promoting here, that won't tell you dick about fuck. That won't be useful to you in any way. Hmm? Maybe you should listen to me. I'm the science. I'm safe and effective me. Don't question the science. Good, good. What's next?
That gives you access to over 100 biomarkers.
Well, whoop-de-doo. Who cares?
Covering everything from heart, liver, kidney, and metabolic health to hormone levels, inflammation, and nutrient status.
So hot.
That, my friends, is 5 times more testing than the average physical. I chose
and 5 times more than you need, because you don't need any tests at all, in fact.
Function for my own blood work and to be a sponsor of this show because they are the best in the world when it comes to helping you understand and own your health.
No, they're not. That's your opinion, Simon, and it's based on your ignorance, son.
It's true.
No, it isn't true. Just because you say it's true, Simon, it doesn't make it true. It isn't.
Depth and quality of their testing is unrivaled. And as
so what?
As regular listeners of this show will know, you cannot optimize what you don't measure.
Oh my God. Yet another fallacious, ridiculous theological statement from a buffoon.
Don't guess, test. Use function.
Don't guess, test what? And then do what, Simon? Because you think getting an elevated LDL feedback from a test is a reason to lower it. Based on theology and nothing else. You ridiculous, arrogant man, child.
And to know exactly where your health is today and then intervene.
I know exactly where my health is today. I'm under no illusions as to where my health is, and I haven't had any testing of any kind done in any laboratory setting for many a moon. Many a moon.
With evidence-based.
Ted's never had a blood test in his life. And apart from being a bit one-eyed, and that's my fault, I'm told, he's in rude health, aren't you, Ted? Yes, I'm in rude health. See? He said so it must be true. Because when people say things, they're true, aren't they? They wouldn't say them otherwise, would they, Ted? No, I would never lie to you, boys and girls. There you go. That sorts it out. If you wanted the story about how Ted became one-eyed, good boy, down there, twiddle the knobs. Apparently some bald, I was bald back then too, some bald little bastard chewed it out of his head when I was teething, apparently. He's never been the same as Ted. He's never forgiven me for it. That's why he gives me such a hard time. Right, what's next?
medicine and lifestyle changes to feel your best and reduce your risk.
So, by the way, I mean, he's kind of summing up now and doing promotions and winding up and all of that. This was a 12-minute and 55-second video when we get to the end of it. And the title of the video is "The Cholesterol Lie Everyone Believes but Science Disagrees." What science was presented in this video by either Simon or the ridiculous buffoon Dayspring? Can anybody remember any science being presented whatsoever? Thomas at one point said we've proven with controlled studies, but he didn't cite any, did he? Both Thomas and Simon gave us begging the question fallacies around cholesterol and its role in heart disease, proposed. Neither one of them provided any evidence that it's so, in any way, shape or form. You're just expected to accept that high cholesterol, as determined arbitrarily, needs to be intervened. And drugs, okay, as well as diet, the wrong diet, is the way to do that, apparently, according to Simon. Am I wasting my time here? Please let me know I'm not wasting my time here and that you're getting something from this, because I don't know.
Of chronic disease. With Function, you get access to very important markers like Lp(a).
That's not an important marker. No, it isn't.
A genetically driven cardiovascular risk factor.
No, there's no such thing as risk factors, Simon. That's a theological buzz term. Risk implies mechanism. There is no established mechanism by which ApoB100 or ApoA or any other lipoprotein subfraction are causally related to the development of atherosclerotic lesions. Not one single scrap of evidence exists in support of that claim. Perhaps you'd like to come and debate that with me. I suggest you probably shouldn't, for your own good, because I will fucking destroy you, Simon. Okay?
ApoB, the most predictive marker of atherosclerosis.
No, it isn't. And even if it was, so what? Marker of. Does that mean it's causal in? No, it doesn't.
And LH and FSH, reproductive hormones typically missing from standard lab panels. It's not uncommon for these biomarkers and others to be elevated. For example, over 50% of Function members have an ApoB level, and over 20% have an LPA little level that is above the optimal range.
According to whom, on the basis of what, you buffoon? Still.
You can even add on harder to access tests like cystatin C, a very sensitive marker of kidney function, as well as selenium and iodine, nutrients that are essential for thyroid and overall health, yet rarely tested. So what are you waiting for? Run over to...
Well, I'll tell you what, Simon. I have a brain in my head and the ability to actually use it. I have discernment about whom I listen to and where I get my information from.
functionhealth.com/Simon Hill today and be one of 1,000 listeners to score a $100 credit. That's functionhealth.com/Simon Hill.
Yeah, we won't be doing that. All right, so that's the end of that. Simon Hill provided absolutely diddly squat fuck all to hang our hats on there with regard to anything about science, although he's just said the cholesterol lie everyone believes, but science disagrees in his title. A bit clickbaity, wasn't it, Simon? Because you provided absolutely fuck all in bar. All right, that's pretty much it. So I hope you got something from it. I hope you enjoyed it. Join me next time if YouTube tells you that I'm on, or watch it in replay if it doesn't. Keep an eye on my stream, on my YouTube channel manually. Don't expect that YouTube will tell you when I've posted new videos. It probably won't. Don't expect it to tell you when I'm going to be live. It probably won't. You're going to have to keep an eye on it. And you can possibly also help by sending out links on your social media to my fine offerings. You could caveat them where you like, as saying, listen, this guy's pretty abrasive, but nonetheless he's correct and it's worth hearing. And that might be enough to actually interest people to watch it. Actually, just purely out of fascination. That's why I started doing it in the first place. Anyway, let's sing the song and then we can be out of here, can't we? It goes a little bit something like this. Steak and eggs and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and steak and eggs. Just making sure you heard. I think they got it, Ted. Join me next time. Go and twiddle the knobs, Ted. Hit the end button, Ted. For goodness sake. There you go.